Welcome to the Little Brain Campaign. I'm Dr. Lauren LaRose, a child and adolescent psychiatrist.
And I'm Jessica Eisenstadt, a licensed professional counselor.
We're here to be straight with you about children's mental health.
And we're not afraid to challenge the trends that are out there about anything related to kids.
And we're not afraid to challenge each other either.
If you're looking to be validated from two moms that are in the trenches, you're in the right spot.
Yep, no fluff here. Just some honest conversation with a side of sarcasm.
Let's get into it. Hey, Lauren.
Hey, Jess.
How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm really excited about this episode.
You
Very
are?
excited. Really
I
jacked.
know. I'm getting kind of horny on it, too.
Yeah, you're going to like it. It's going to be real fun.
Okay, we have Rachel and Rebecca. They're back. We just had to have them back. And we're going to actually ask you guys for your rose and thorn of the week. Do y'all know what that is, rose and a thorn?
Yes, of course.
Oh.
We're going to have the same
Such a
rose.
tricky thing to do.
I guarantee it. We just got back from hometown high school girls trip.
Oh,
in
I saw.
Cashers, North
So
Carolina.
cute.
It was the
Exactly
most
what we needed.
fun weekend.
Oh, that's so fun. I love that.
It was
cry.
so fun.
Yeah, I know. I just like
That's really sweet. That's
it.
I know. We need a girls' trip.
I know.
Yeah.
Can we?
We need a college one.
I know.
Oh, yeah, we need a college
Yeah.
one, too.
But,
But
like-
sometimes you just need a girls' trip. Like, it
But
is
like
just,
everyone needs to fucking do it.
Yeah.
Like we almost did it in Miami 2 years ago or whatever,
know.
and like it just didn't.
I
Because
know.
of COVID and shit.
COVID
Anyways,
was-
yeah.
It was
You
still
just,
sketchy.
Sometimes you need a break from kids and to laugh your ass off.
Yes.
And that's exactly
Yeah.
what we did all weekend. It was wonderful.
It was
so
so
fun.
good.
Thorn would have to be
Coming back.
going back to my kids. Just
It's a reality.
Thorn would be that I'm still one of me or my husband are still having to go upstairs to my 3-year-old's room. He has recurring nightmares of tigers. I don't know why, and it
Those fucking
scares him
tigers.
so
Let's chat.
badly.
We'll chat offline about that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it
Really?
scares him so bad, and he's I don't know why.
How long? Like he's getting up every night.
Every night, unless someone sleeps with him. I slept with him last night because I was like, I'm just too tired.
Yeah. We'll talk.
That is
I don't know. It started in like May. Every night, he's like, a tiger's gonna come in. And once I checked his ring camera in the playroom, and we have a German Shepherd who walked in there at like 3 a.m, and that was the very first night he did it. So I'm like, you saw Onyx, I promise. Like, tigers are only at the zoo. And I keep telling him that, and he's like, no.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay.
But why do you keep? I wish I could say it with a straight face. Why do you keep going in there with that scary ass tiger mask?
What?
And scaring them? Why do you do that?
I'm trying to tough love him, and so I bring in the tiger.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
So she rented a tiger and she lets him loose in there around 3 a.m. Why do you keep doing that?
I don't know. I'm trying to scare him straight.
That's hilarious.
Wait.
good,
so
right,
you got a tiger
psychiatrist?
mask and you walk in there?
No,
No, of course not.
Please
Oh, I
don't call
thought-
CPS on me.
No, I
of
thought you
course.
did because it would be. I mean, I wouldn't, put it past you.
I know.
And I
right?
maul him. It's weird.
Yeah, it's going to be so fucked up.
But I cannot figure out why he's
Like, the
scared.
tigers are real.
Oh my God. All right. Okay, back to business. Okay, Lauren's taking over today, kind of. It's who are we talking about today?
Okay, we are
dissecting?
talking about Franklin Delano.
Oh.
I was about to say Roosevelt.
Roosevelt. It's not crazy.
Franklin Delano Floyd. Okay,
Delano.
so
Kinda like
when I started like researching this, all of a sudden I was like, wait a second. I saw the movie like 2 years ago, and I had
The girl in the
forgotten about
picture?
it. Yes, I had forgotten about it, and so then it like all came back to me. I was like, oh, I remember this story, and it is so fucked
Okay.
up.
It's
Someone
so
give me
fucked
this.
up.
Give us the story because I don't know.
Okay, so
Who wants to do it? Y'all want to do it?
No,
Y'all did an
go for
episode
it.
on it.
Go for it.
We did an episode on it. It's episode 2 for
Yeah, it's
just
a
to
very-
have the shameless plug. It was my very first episode. But no, go for it.
And
It's-
actually, that movie came out 1 week after. We had no idea that they were going to do it.
I actually
so
still
long.
haven't
That's good
seen
timing.
it.
I
I know it
seen
was
it.
good timing. I actually still haven't seen that, but I know
feel like
because
I
it just
saw it. It's on
infuriated me.
Netflix?
yeah, a girl.
think so.
The girl in the picture. Okay, so I'm gonna start with like childhood because it's like, damn.
Are you
like,
going through? Are you gonna like tell us what happened?
I'm gonna
Yeah,
tell you
what
about
he
his
did.
childhood
I know,
first.
before you
Yeah.
tell us what happened.
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
Because this
scared
is
you're
like
gonna make me-
God, my
many
episodes
ways
suck.
to fuck
You
a
did
person
so much
up.
better.
Okay?
I know. I'm scared you're gonna make me feel almost bad for him, but then I'll remember what he did, and I
Yes.
won't.
Yeah.
Whatever. And also, like we all, like everyone has some shit.
I
There are
know.
people who had this same story, Who did
did
not
not.
fuck some people up. Go ahead.
Right.
Exactly.
True. Okay.
We always say that.
So, okay. So Franklin or Frank, youngest of
Delacroix?
5 kids.
Delacroix, Delabont,
Delano.
Delano.
Floyd.
He was actually named after like Franklin Delano Roosevelt.
FDR.
Yeah.
That's Delano too?
Delano.
Delano. Delano.
Wait, Franklin Delano? Roosevelt?
Franklin Delano Roosevelt was a
knew.
president.
I know that, but I didn't know.
And Franklin
Delano.
Delano Floyd was named after him.
It's fucking
What number
Okay.
president was he?
What?
What number president was he, Jessica?
You think I know?
Who was his,
I actually
who was
want to
his
say he
vice
was
president?
32.
Just
Was he?
kidding.
32? He might have been 32.
He was
Or
World War
38.
One?
Check that out. Yeah,
he was
fact
World
check
War
that.
One?
He was World War Two. Okay, so anyway, Frank. Yeah, we're gonna fact check that in just one second. Okay. What? Franklin Delano Roosevelt. What number president was he? I'm gonna keep going until you find it. 30 seconds.
What the
Good
fuck?
for
Oh, I
you.
have photographic memory. I have a
That
photographic
is so
memory. I can spit
impressive.
out facts, but I can't like critically think at all.
That's
Unbelievable.
impressive.
Okay, so Frank Floyd, okay, born youngest of 5 children. Dad was an alcoholic.
I'm gonna take notes.
And like a laborer, manual laborer. Okay, Dad
Youngest of
died.
5?
He youngest of 5. Dad died when he was only 32 years old from kidney and liver failure. And Frank was only 1 when his dad died. So mom is trying to raise mom, who was 29 at the time with 5 children.
No.
Trying to raise them by herself. Not possible. So she moves into this like tiny ass apartment with her parents. They eventually get kicked out of her there because her parents can't deal with all the fucking kids there. And so like, you know, a little bit down the line, mom ends up having to put the kids in like a home, like a children's home,
Like
an
foster home? A group home?
or a group home, yeah, orphanage, whatever.
What year is this?
So he's born in 1943.
During World War II.
Yeah, right at the end. Yep. Probably why he was named after FDR. And so at the home, he was like sexually assaulted repeatedly by
When
older
did he
boys.
transfer to the home?
He was like,
was like
little,
44?
little.
He's baby.
They didn't have a year on it,
But
but
if
he
he
was
was
little.
a year.
He was little. He was like probably
The
I don't
war's
know,
still going on.
5, 6, 7, something like that. Whatever. So he was like repeatedly sexually assaulted by other boys, bullied a lot. Very harsh punishments by the staff that worked there. Like he says in one of his interviews that like one of the staff dipped his hand into hot water because he was caught masturbating. I wonder why he was masturbating. Probably because he was sexually abused. Okay, so at like 15, 16 years old, he runs away from the home. First criminal activity, which this one's kind of sad. He like breaks into a house nearby to steal food. I mean, that's kind
Yeah,
of sad.
that is sad.
And so the children's home calls his sister. He has like some older sister that's married with kids somewhere else. Calls her and is like, either you take him in or we're going to have him criminally charged for that. So she agrees to take him in, can't handle him. So she ends up kicking him out. And he's still a teenager at this point. Okay.
Can't handle him. Like, do we know what he is?
I don't know. Doesn't say.
Yeah,
Don't
okay.
know. So then he travels around looking for his mom because he had been separated from his mom since he was like a little kid at this point. Finds out mom's working as a prostitute. You know.
You gotta get money, you know.
Mom then
I would do it.
assists some more illegal behavior by helping him to forge documents so that he can enlist in the army as underage. Okay, 'cause he wasn't 18 yet. So he goes into the army, but he's only there for like 6 months before they find out that he's underage. So
How old was he?
Kick him
6,
out.
17?
I think he was like
17.
16 or 17, something like
He
that.
had to be 18.
Right. So they kick him out of the army, and then he's like wandering around again, homeless, basically like a drifter. Okay. And then we get into some like real shit starts. Okay. So 1960, so he's about like 16, 17, whatever. He breaks into a department store in California to steal a gun.
Oh.
And the alarm goes off, so the police actually show up while he's like in the act, and they get into a shootout. He gets shot in the stomach and then has to go to the hospital and have like emergency surgery. So like giant red flag there that he's like shooting at police.
Yeah.
Like, no
From
bueno.
stealing food.
No bueno. So then he gets released from the hospital. They send him to like this youth institution, quote unquote. He gets arrested again for doing some stupid shit, like violating his parole. Works for a little bit. And then when he's in 1962. So I think at this point he was only like 19, maybe 18, 19, whatever. Abducts a 4-year-old girl from a bowling alley and brings her to the woods and
Ew.
sexually assaults her.
Jesus Christ.
Like now we're getting into some like depraved shit.
Dark.
So of course he gets
Disgusting.
caught, thank God. Although of course they don't send him to prison for long enough.
No.
So he goes to Georgia State Prison. While he's there, they decide that they want to do like psychiatric testing on him.
Great.
Yeah.
This is
So
what
they-
got us into the conversation of what's the point?
What's the
he can't
point?
be rehabilitated. That's what
know.
started the conversation, actually.
And so they like
But
send
he's young.
him. Yeah, he's super young at this
He's
point.
very
He's like
young.
not even 20
Yeah.
yet. Okay.
Yeah.
So they send him to this like, one of those like forensic psychiatric hospitals. And while he's there, I mean, this part you're just like, what the fuck? Apparently he's on a quote unquote medical errand with the staff. Like, what is that? I don't know what the hell that is.
I don't know.
And he escapes.
Duh.
Of course.
I mean,
Okay,
fucking that
so
person.
he escapes and goes and robs a bank.
That's so boring.
Which is like the dumbest
so
crime because like
cliche.
you
It's,
gonna
like,
get
so
caught.
boring.
Yeah.
You rob a bank, you're probably gonna get caught.
you're going to get caught.
You're gonna get caught.
Oh,
So he
in
gets
the
caught.
70s? Oh, okay.
Well, he got caught. He got caught. He got caught. So now he's back in prison. So he's been in prison like how many times at this point? Like I don't even know, 5. And he's
Right.
like 20. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he goes back to prison, tries to escape again. They send him to another prison. Gets raped multiple times by other inmates because he's probably one of the youngest people there in an adult prison. And he like climbs the roof and tries to kill himself, but I guess they saved him. Sent to another prison and then finally gets out. Okay. At this point, it's like, I don't know, early 1970s, 1973. Okay. So he's like not even 30 yet. Goes
Vietnam?
to
Are we in Vietnam?
You're all in this war
yeah,
era.
I think so. So he
He's
goes
not
to
a war
halfway-
hero. If
No,
that's
he's
what
not
you're getting
a
at.
veteran.
No, I just
Not a
want to know.
veteran.
I just want to know, like,
What are
what
the times?
Yeah, what are the time? Like,
Yeah,
what
yeah.
is America? Like,
I would
what-
say I
It's
don't
a
know a whole
tough
lot about the
time.
Vietnam War, but yeah, I know it's around that time.
Okay.
So he goes to a halfway house. 1 week after getting there, he goes to a gas station, forces a woman into her car, and tries to rape her. She somehow escapes, and he gets charged with that. But then one of his little prison buddies posts his bail,
Oh,
and he gets out. And now the shit gets really, really, really fucking real. So he meets this woman in like 1974. And it's funny because his story about how he meets her is very different than her story. Her story, because she's on the documentary, she's like, oh, I was at a church and I was crying and he came up to me and like consoled me and that's how we met. He's like, oh, I met her at a gas station. What the truth is, I don't know. So he meets this woman, Sandra, who has 4 children by 2 different guys, divorced from both. So she's got 1 daughter from her first marriage, and then 2 daughters and 1 son from her second marriage. Okay, the girl from the first marriage is named Suzanne, and the kids from the second marriage, Allison, Amy, and Philip. Okay, there's also like the history about Philip is like a little sketchy. Like, was she raising him or was he adopted out at birth? There's, and it's like that's kind of like a fact that should just be like a factual answer.
I need to see
but
the
the
documentary.
answer differs depending
Oh,
on
I
what
didn't
she
know
says
that.
in different interviews. She has claimed different things. It's so weird.
Well, I know she told the
No, this is like the
older
baby
daughters that he died at birth or something. They're
Yep.
and that wasn't true.
No.
It's just bizarre.
Because he's
the whole
alive
thing.
out in the world.
Yeah.
Oh, he is. He lives in North
Yeah,
Carolina.
he's alive. Okay, so here's this woman who has I don't know 3 to 4 children. Okay, so she knows Floyd for like a day or a month or whatever the fuck. He knows her for a month, and then they get married. Okay, and then Sandra, writes some bad checks and ends up in jail for 30 days.
Oh, yes.
to a grocery
So-
store, allegedly like buying milk for the kids. It was a thing. Did you read that too?
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, you're not buying. You're not buying.
You're
into
not buying
Sandy.
Sandy's
I'm
story.
a little
huh?
skeptical of Sandy, but anyway,
Okay.
I mean, she still got a shit end of the stick.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Okay, so she's in jail. She gets out of jail, comes home, and her house is fucking empty.
No kids, no.
Floyd gone, kids gone, nowhere to be found.
Okay.
Okay. she was able to find the two middle girls, okay, Allison and Amy, who were from her second marriage. She was able to find them in like this like social services group, whatever. But she never found her oldest daughter, Suzanne, and she never found the baby, reportedly, which there's also claims that she adopted him out at birth. But anyway, she never found Suzanne.
Do you mean like put them up for adoption? That's what you're thinking?
So I think that like the girls have like said different things than what the mom has said. Like apparently the girls have said that he was like at one point she said he died at birth, and then later, he was adopted out at birth.
Oh, okay.
And then the mom had a different story. I don't know. It's very confusing.
And they were too young to remember, I think.
Yeah,
right?
they were like little bitty. Yeah,
They're
they were tiny. They were like 2 and 3 or something.
Yeah.
But that baby now lives in North Carolina? We know.
Well, we'll get there. Yeah.
Okay,
that one's
sorry.
crazy.
I know. Sorry.
I love this.
So, okay, so she finds the two middle kids, never finds the oldest daughter. And then, so the boy, his identity remained unknown until 2019. And then he like heard press about this story. And so he came forward being like, I think I'm Philip, and had his DNA tested, and it was him.
And it was.
And he had been adopted. In North
His
Carolina.
adopted mom heard the story and was like, this really matches up. Because they're like in
right.
Texas. She obviously knows the year. She was like, let's just check. And he was like, yeah.
Yeah.
And it was.
So, okay. So, Suzanne, so I don't know how I should say this. Like, do I put the hook at the end, or do I just tell y'all now?
Right?
Yeah.
See, that's our constant. I think
Hook at the end.
Hook at the end. Okay.
Jessica on her toes.
All right. So let's fast forward many, many years. Okay. Floyd is, okay. So he develops he has a bunch of aliases. So he no longer goes by Frank Floyd. He has like, I don't know, like 7 different names. Okay. So, he, is, I don't remember what his name at this point. But basically, okay. So there's this, teenage girl who is like super smart, super sweet. Everybody loves her. She's a senior in high school. She gets this like badass full scholarship to, I think it was like Georgia Tech or whatever.
Georgia Tech, yeah.
Yeah.
For like aerospace
For
engineering.
like
She's
aerospace engineering, like
bright.
super fucking smart. Okay. And she, right when she's like graduating, she finds out she's pregnant. Okay. And her dad is like, nope, can't go to college. That's it. You're done. She has the baby. She gives it up for adoption. And then I think it was like shortly after that, they kind of like into thin air, right?
Yeah.
So she has like all these friends who
wait,
were
what?
like, in her life, and then all of a sudden she's like gone.
They like, she like
And they, like,
moved from
never
Atlanta
see her again.
to Florida. I think it
Florida.
was.
Okay.
Yeah.
So her dad, I'm using quotes, her dad makes her have the baby, puts it up for adoption, and then like they change their names and they move somewhere else. Okay. Yeah.
Wait,
just
the
wait.
dad? Yeah, keep
Just
going.
wait. Just wait. So they kind of like go all over. They end up, now I'm like trying to figure out where I am in my timeline.
Oh, did I mess up your timeline? You can give her the.
No, it's okay. We're going to go back. Okay. So they end up in
Florida,
okay, here we go. So they end up in New Orleans. They have new names. They officially marry each other.
Who is this?
The
The
dad and
quote
daughter.
unquote father and the quote unquote daughter.
Pretend it's a separate story from what we just told you.
Yes. Okay. They get married.
Who are they?
We're getting there.
Okay. So her name at this time is Sharon, and his name is.
But who were they
I don't
originally?
fucking remember what his name is. Warren. Okay.
Oh, I was
So
about to say,
Sharon and
yeah.
Warren are living as father-daughter in Georgia. She has this amazing scholarship, graduates, finds out she's pregnant. Dad says, nope, you can't go to college. You have to have the
Warren's
baby.
the
Has
dad?
the baby.
Yeah.
Put up for adoption, right? Okay. And then all of a sudden, poof, they disappear. Okay.
Fun fact: my husband's uncle went to school with Sharon.
No way.
He was over at Warren's house several times.
No
Oh
fucking
my
way. And he probably said
That
he was
gave
a
me goosebumps. It
creep.
will too for
Oh.
you too, Jessica.
Creep.
Yeah.
Fucking creep.
I was like, we need to
Okay.
go to lunch and talk about it. He's like, I'd gladly.
Oh my God. Okay, so they end up like in New Orleans, and now are Clarence and Tanya, and marry each other.
I don't even
Okay.
know who we're talking about.
This is a father-son duo. They marry each other.
Father-daughter duo.
She has another
Father-daughter.
baby, puts it up for adoption again. And then like, then they're just like all over the fuck. They're like in Florida, they're in Ohio, they're in Oklahoma, they're like where, I don't know, all over. She ends up having to like work as a exotic dancer wherever they live.
And Jess, this is the scholarship aeronautics student who
Yes.
got
Yeah.
a rap. but
Super
couldn't
fucking
get.
smart. Okay.
Yeah.
At one of the places where they were living, one of her like friends at the club where she was dancing, gets into an argument with her husband / dad, Floyd, aka I don't remember his name at this point, Warren, Clarence, whatever the fuck his name is.
Yeah.
So he gets into a fight with this like fellow stripper, and all of a sudden that stripper's disappeared, gone. Nobody hears from her ever again.
Okay.
Okay. Her body is later found like a while later in Florida on the side of an interstate. She had been shot twice in the head, and like beaten very badly.
Oh, God.
You know, coincidentally, right at the same time, this father-daughter / husband-wife duo, their trailer burns down.
Okay.
Very convenient timing. And like, boom, they're on the road again. Okay. So then they're living in, I think at this point they're living in Oklahoma City. Anyway, she falls in love with some other boy, and they're having like a little secret relationship. And like shortly thereafter, she is found on the side of the highway, clinging to life. Yeah. She had been, it was like a suspected hit and run. She's like on the side of the highway laying there with like groceries scattered around her.
gosh.
Okay. Suspected hit and run.
Clarence, what's her name?
At this
Sharon,
point, she's
Tanya.
Tanya.
She's Tanya.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, okay, Tanya.
Taken to the hospital. She dies, unfortunately. Dad / husband briefly shows up, very like unempathetic. Yeah. Total asshole.
Her
And
dancer
then
friends had to pay for
her
the
dancer
tombstone.
friends had to pay for her headstone because he like wouldn't
He was
even
like,
do that.
no.
Yeah, and they didn't even know her real name, so they just like put Tanya on it, and that was it.
Oh.
They didn't even like know her last name. They tried to find her family, everything. They found out she had a fake name, obviously, right? And so they like couldn't figure out who she actually was at the time. And so at some point in this, they had like had an okay. I totally forgot about this part. Okay, so at some point in all of this traveling around the country and like disappearing other people and changing names and stuff, she had a little boy that she was able to keep. Okay, Michael. And so when he died, when she died, he was like 2 years old. He was still really little. Okay. The hospital was able to like intervene with the help of her exotic dancer friends and find out that like this kid is not safe with his quote unquote father. And he was put into foster care.
Okay.
And he ended up living with this foster family who seemed lovely. And they basically like took him from being like a little like undomesticated animal into like a child. Okay. Like when they got him, he was like basically nonverbal and like, you know, acting like he'd been like raised in a cage or something.
Yeah.
And so they like loved him, nurtured him, whatever. They were getting to they had filed for adoption and they were like very, very close to the final stages of the adoption. And he was like going to school, doing well, whatever. And so one day Floyd / Warren / Clarence, whatever his name is, shows up to the school where this little boy is with a gun, forces the principal to show him where the kid is, kidnaps the principal and the child, drives the principal to a wooded area, handcuffs him to a tree, leaves him there, and then the kid is never seen again.
To this day.
To this day.
Oh shit!
Never seen again.
What year? What?
So this
where are we?
is
That was like
now
90
1994.
So he would be.
The kid was like
20
6.
something now.
The man,
No,
Oh,
the
my
kid
child
now.
would be if he had survived.
30.
survived.
Oh,
30.
so he died.
He'd be 30. Yeah.
Wow.
Well, I mean, he's never been seen again.
Floyd, while on death row in 2019, said that he took him out to the woods and shot him, and it was in an area with a lot of like wild boar, and they were like, we're never gonna be able to find him.
And he admitted that he had like done it the same day. Like he basically brought him to the woods like immediately and killed him.
Shot him in the head.
Okay. So this guy's like super fucked up, right? Okay. He was caught though. Okay. So the police found him. Floyd,
Michael.
Floyd /
already killed
Clarence
Michael.
/ Warren. Yes, he's already
He was
killed
not with
Michael.
Michael.
left the principal handcuffed to a tree, but he was caught. Okay. Okay, so now then this like whole story like unravels like many years later. Okay, while he's in prison and like over time he's like agreeing to interviews and giving like little pieces of information here and there. Okay, so it was 2014 that he admitted that he killed Michael. Okay, which is like this was a long time. So it took him like 10 years to admit what he did. Okay, 1995. So like backing up, all right, a little bit. Okay.
20 years.
What?
20 years. Wait, when was that? 94? Yeah, so it was 20
20
years.
years. 20 years. Sorry,
You
I can't do math.
You can't listen to me.
Yeah, math is
Like,
hard.
am I wrong?
Math is really hard. It's not much.
Forgot about that 2004.
Yeah.
Because
Wait,
94
30.
still seems like it was 10
No,
years.
20.
94,
1994 to
14,
2014
24,
is 20 years. My
30.
bad.
14.
But
He
when
was
he-
caught in 14. Not now. He wasn't recently caught. Hell
It's
no.
okay.
Okay,
It's
y'all.
okay. It's
Go
okay.
ahead,
We're
go
good.
on.
I
Got
still
it.
love you.
got
Okay,
it.
so all right, so hop back to 1995. All right, so this mechanic finds this envelope in a truck, okay, that he got at an auction, and in the envelope were 97 photographs, including those of a woman severely severely beaten and bound. Okay, they are able over time to trace that back to that exact answer that disappeared, right? That we all kind of knew
friend?
he was involved in. Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Okay.
the friend.
Okay. So they're finally able to identify that woman because they found her body. But then also there's all these photos of a girl being
In that envelope?
Yes, being sexually abused from age 4 on. And when they're looking at this progression of photos, they realize when they're looking at the adult ones, oh my God, that's his fucking wife.
Who's his wife? The child?
The child,
child
who
in
had
the
been sexually
pictures.
abused over the course of 20 years or whatever, was the
So
person he was claiming was his wife, okay, who he had also in the past claimed was his child.
So Sharon, the girl who got the scholarship, Sharon who got the
Smart girl
scholarship,
Sharon.
got pregnant, they moved away, was the little girl at the beginning of the story, Suzanne.
I don't remember.
Okay, so remember how he finds this, he marries this woman, and she has 4 kids. You remember that part?
She went to jail and
Remember, she went to jail for
grocery
bad
store.
checks, and when she came home, all of her kids were gone, okay?
Okay.
The oldest girl, who she never found this girl. She was gone forever. Fucking Floyd kidnapped that girl, kept her for himself, raised her
As his
as his
daughter.
quote unquote daughter, who he also raped the entire time she was in her childhood. And then when she became an adult, he married her.
But was he his daughter? Was she
No,
his
this
daughter?
was no biological relation to him whatsoever.
No, she
Okay.
and when Sandy went to the police to say like, hey, the stepdad just took all my kids and bolted. They said that's his right as the stepdad. So there was no investigation. She reported all of her kids missing, and they did nothing about it.
Yeah.
So she just was like, shit out of luck. He took the oldest, who she never found, and we then found out through those pictures. By that point, 30 years later, that he kept her as a daughter, and then when she turned
Married
18,
her.
he switched the narrative to "This is my wife,"
And that's
and
who
that was the
Barrett's,
missing daughter.
Barrett's uncle went to school as knew her as Sharon, good friends, went to high school with her.
It was Suzanne Savakis.
So the thing that I heard, because it's so weird, like you marry this person you raised as your
Right.
child, like what the fuck. And then when I heard something about like why he did that, besides him being a total fucking psychopath, was that when they had gone on the run, people were looking for them as a father daughter, because she and child, a father daughter child combination, and so he married her so that like they no longer fit that profile, so people couldn't find them, because then it was a husband wife child.
Yeah,
Child. Who's the child?
Michael.
She had that kid Michael.
The one
I know
who's
it's confusing.
17.
There's a lot of kids and a
Okay.
lot of people,
Now-
and the names changed, so it's very confusing.
Okay.
When she got pregnant in high school, was it confirmed to be his?
No, it was her
No,
high school boyfriend.
I think it was the boyfriend.
okay,
yeah.
okay.
Actually, it sounds like none of the kids she had were his.
Yeah,
Because she had another, she had like the one in high school who she put up for
yeah.
adoption.
And then
she had a girl, Megan, who actually was raised in New Orleans. She was
Really?
adopted out and raised in New Orleans. Yes.
Wow.
So when you watch the little documentary, they talk about that, and she's on. The girl Megan does an interview on it.
Really?
Oh, I need to
Yeah.
see
Still
that.
here?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
She
yeah.
is?
Yeah. Mhm.
Oh, so Michael was even the guy she fell in love with.
Yeah, and that's what set him off. That's why he went to the schools
Yes.
because he was when she died, he was trying to get custody, and everyone was like, absolutely not. So they're like, well, if he's the paternal father, then he has a right. So they did a DNA test, and they're like, oh, you're actually not the dad,
And it was not his.
That's why he marched down to that school. That's when
So
he
they-
did. I don't know if that's why, but I just have so many questions about him.
I know.
Yeah.
It's fucking weird.
I mean, that is like one of the most complex and confusing stories because it's like,
Fascinating.
you know, all the name changes. There's so many different people.
What was the end? Remind me what the end is.
The end, like,
Michael.
yeah. So
Michael.
the end was like,
Principal.
yeah. Well, he
Michael.
killed Michael. He did admit to that. The real ending was like, we found out all these years later that this woman who he was claiming to be his wife, and
a
then
kidnapper.
also had claimed to be his daughter,
But wasn't.
was kidnapped from someone else.
From an
Like, he
ex-wife.
kidnapped her when she was
And
4.
finding
And
that
then he
out
killed
in,
her
like-
when she was at the grocery.
And
or
then he
whatever.
killed her. Yeah.
Okay, got it. Okay.
She
Okay.
and finding that truck. So he I guess
Let's see what he looks like.
when he got arrested for something, when they got his truck and sold it at auction, and that mechanic found all those pictures, they were finally able to prove that because everyone suspected him of killing the friend,
Yeah.
the exotic dancer, but there was just no proof. And then those pictures helped, and they were going through the pictures, and when they saw like a little girl being sexually abused, but like clearly he had her, it was years of it because it was like age progressed pictures. They're like, he had a daughter. I don't remember this. And then it started coming out like, oh yeah, he had a daughter, Sharon. And I think they contacted Sandra and was like, is this what your daughter looked like? She was like, yeah, that's her. That's the oldest one I never found. He kept her.
So all this time, she
killed
was
her
a
and
missing girl from the
She was a missing girl
70s.
with no real investigation because it was his right.
And he had
It
like
is-
told her, I think that her parents abandoned her or something.
Yeah, he said that they were drug addicts and left her
Yeah.
abandoned, and he saved her.
Yeah. And she was so little that she like didn't remember.
Yeah, she was like, oh, that sucks.
Shit.
I think the big question: why did he put the other ones up for adoption? What did he? Why? If he wanted,
Were they
Yeah.
boys or girls?
No,
Yeah.
it was
No.
two.
Girls?
It was
3 girls
the
and
ones-
a boy.
older.
Yeah, no, they were younger. So Suzanne was the oldest. The one that
How
he kept
old was
was the
she?
oldest. I think she was 4
She was
at the
like
time.
4.
And the other ones were like 2 and 3.
So it's not like he was like, I have to get rid of them. They have no memory. They're never gonna. They couldn't point you out of a lineup. They're too little. So I'm like, why did you even? Why'd you bother taking away all that poor mom's children?
I know.
I mean,
know.
not that like, just not to say like, just kidnap
Because
Suzanne
they were
and be-
cattle.
No, they were
no, they
tiny.
weren't.
They were like babies.
2 and 3.
Philip was like less than
They
a
can
year
talk.
if we believe that he was there. I've always
guess
thought he
they
was, but he was like an infant. 2 and 3, maybe, but what can they
mean,
do? It was his
Monroe-
right. He actually didn't even, according to police,
I mean,
do
who
anything
knows?
illegal.
Who knows
Yeah.
like why he kept the kid he did. I mean, I don't know. So I'm sure there's some disgusting.
It's a
fucked up reason
tragic
why.
story.
It's so sad. And like
so
the poor
sad.
girl, despite being raised in the like horrific environment, was
Yeah.
like apparently a like genuinely kind, really intelligent girl.
Really intelligent. She was gonna have a
know?
successful life with a full ride to Georgia Tech for aeronautics.
I know.
whatever.
I know.
I don't even know what that means.
It's crazy.
So he's
And that's what Barrett's uncle was like. Nothing was out of the normal with her. She was not at all. I mean, sorry, what I
Out of
say?
the ordinary.
Out of the
I don't know.
ordinary.
Out of the normal was weird.
Yeah, it was weird, but so she was great. Very.
And there's
sweet,
like, okay,
very-
so there's in the documentary there's a girl who was like her friend in high school that does an interview, and she
saw that. I
says
saw
how she
that
like
part.
slept over at their house one night, and like dad, quote unquote dad, comes in with like a gun in the middle of the night and like makes the friend get on the ground with like a pillow over her face and like rapes the fucking girl right in front of her.
Oh, I
Yeah.
forgot about that.
Yeah.
So weird.
So fucked up.
so what would he be?
So he dead now.
He died.
He died.
He was
died,
on
like-
death row, and then he died in prison
last
last
year.
January.
Whipped from what?
Natural
was-
causes, quote unquote.
79. He was. He went to a Florida prison where I don't know if you know this, pedophiles. Other inmates don't take too kindly to that, so I wouldn't be surprised if a natural cause was
A shank.
a huge shank in the neck. But
Yeah.
whatever
One
worked.
could only hope.
Yeah, no. I was kind of really hoping he'd live for the lethal injection because apparently that shit hurts.
Yeah.
I'm sure it hurt for him.
So is he? So that is very different.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
I mean,
here's why it
urine.
fascinates me. It's very convoluted.
yeah.
But the MO, there's no real MO. He robs a bank. It started with the Sears. It started robbing the Sears with the police shootout.
I mean, it's control is the theme, though.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
guess.
He
But
is-
that was always the main thing, because from what I understood of his and Sandra's relationship, she left her kids in his care. She probably didn't have much of a choice. I don't know what kind of mom she was, but I don't think there was like some huge plot against her where he hated her so much that he was going to do the worst thing you could do to a mom. And like you said, he didn't want the kid. He like took him and like spread him out between a couple of foster age or church groups.
Whatever. Yeah.
Like what was the point? Lead them.
Yeah, but there is a point though, because it's like it's that. So that could be thematic. Like you think about urine and like taking so long, or like giving snippets. It's still controlling. Like he knows who they
Yeah.
are. Whatever, he knows like
Yeah.
not where they are, but whatever. He has more information than she
Yeah.
does.
Information's power to him, I'm sure.
But also, like, this guy creeps me out because
Well.
it's like everything he does is random,
Right.
right? And it's just like careless, like, I'll just throw that kid in a fucking foster home and like I'll kill that one, and then I'll
Right.
raise that one and molest her. It's like it's very random, it's very careless, which like those people are scary because they're not predictable.
Right.
Right.
There's not, he doesn't
no
discriminate against age, gender. He will
Yeah.
kill anyone in his
Yeah.
way.
It's like I'll rob a bank and then I'll murder a person and then I'll
Yeah.
rape that person.
I'll
you know?
murder
Right.
my wife's friend and also that little boy. And
Yeah.
I'll take the principal and not hurt him.
Right.
But why even tie him up to a tree?
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing?
It's
Yeah, it's
so
And
That
like the
shit.
girl at the bowling alley, the very first one, I think he just let go. Like the escalation too is just batshit
Yeah.
to me.
yeah. It's super creepy. Like those kind of psychopaths creep me out because you can't predict what they're gonna do.
Yeah.
Right.
Is there a medication for things like
Nope.
for
No. In this
I mean, he's
situation, it's
impulsive.
like well, in this situation it's
Just
like
sedation.
No,
this
I mean,
dude
lethal
this
injection.
dude like
Lethal injection.
I don't know, with that upbringing it's like ugh.
right.
all
But he
kinds
had
of fucked
5
upness.
siblings. See, again, let's go back. Well, I wonder what those 5 siblings are up to.
Oh, yeah.
Or what they
I don't know. I think
he was the youngest, so
I
they're
can't
probably
remember
dead.
if he was the only boy. It sounds like there was like a few sisters in there.
Yeah.
He might
Which
have
makes
been
it
the
more
only boy.
shocking. He should have respect for women. He
But
should
it sounds
women.
like okay. So here's the thing, and this is not like detailed in here, but I'm kind of like reading into it. He ran away after his like last sister left the home. So I don't know if like his sisters were adopted out and he wasn't,
That's what it sounded
or
like.
did they just age
How
out
old
of the
was he
home? I don't
when
know.
they left. When the last
I
one
don't
left?
know. It's like that's the problem. It's like a lot of this. Like sometimes there's years attached to it, and sometimes there's not. So I don't know if because that does happen.
What?
Like a lot of times,
yeah.
girls will be adopted out and boys won't.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sure.
So was it just that
really?
he was in the home longer, and so he was subjected to more abuse? I don't know.
I mean, also like you look. There aren't many, and correct me if all y'all correct me if I'm wrong. There aren't a lot of like girl serial killers.
Nope, very few.
You know, it's always
Yeah.
like a white man.
It's always a
Yeah.
white man.
Literally. There's
And so there has to be
very
something
rarely,
to be said about
yeah.
like the brain, like genetic makeup of like the brain,
Yeah.
or
Right.
whatever.
Yeah.
Like male versus female.
There's only been like a few black serial killers and like
Yeah.
Hispanic.
Yeah. And we
And
get
it's
flack for that
interesting-
sometimes. It's like, y'all stories are all white people. I'm like,
That's
they're
who
the
does
most.
it.
We look at the story first and the
And like
pictures
we
later.
ain't proud of that.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
like,
fuck.
it's psycho.
I don't want to
White
believe
people-
these
shootings,
psychopaths.
Like this is what I say.
White
It's
guys
like,
have the most batshit motives
Yeah.
and stories, and it's
yeah, it's like,
there's just rarely
it's not like
a black
something
serial
you're proud
killer.
of.
Right.
Yeah. We get flack for it. I'm like, no. We look at the
what do you
story
mean?
first,
What do you mean
and
you
if
get
it's
flack for?
batshit,
What do they? What is who says
That
that?
Like you never cover
a person, which isn't true,
Oh,
by
so
the way.
you're
We have a
racist.
lot of people of color.
a person of color as a victim, which I'm like, I do the story and then I look up pictures. I have no idea.
And if it's
it
a
just happens
batshit
to be
story, they're almost all white people.
Well, and apparently
All white men.
there are a large
White men,
number of
yeah.
serial killers in like Central and South America, but they're not caught.
Huh. What do you mean? Like
Like
But is it
I
like
mean, I think there's a whole lot
motivated-
of factors in that.
But is it
yeah.
like drugs?
Yeah.
No, like apparently there's like serial killers like we see in the U.S. that are there, but they're not always being
Prosecuted?
caught, and so then we don't know the story. You know,
Yeah.
you just see the
Because it's, like,
victims. You see the
politically
victims, and
corrupt.
so you know it's a serial killer.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many reasons for that. I don't know. That could be something else, but we gotta wrap it up.
Yeah.
That was fun though.
No.
I know.
Frank Floyd is a real piece of shit. They both
I need to
are,
go. I
really.
want to see what he looks
He's
like.
a special kind of piece of shit.
I want to watch that documentary.
You'll Google the image, and it's going to be a professional picture of him holding a cute little blonde girl.
Oh,
That's
it's
Suzanne
so
Sudeikis
creepy.
slash Sharon slash Tanya slash.
Gross.
It's so creepy.
So
It's
creepy.
creepy.
Gross, gross. Okay, plug yourself again.
We are People Are the Worst podcast. If you like true crime, give us a listen. Wherever you get your podcasts, we
Every
focus
Thursday.
on batshit stories, usually with a plot twist or some sort of shocking turn of events. And here's a little tidbit. We don't like old murders, not 1800s. You'll never
there
hear
you
us
go.
do one.
No.
You'll never hear us do one.
Nope.
Not interesting. Oh, organized crime isn't very interesting to me either.
it's
Just
not.
saying. Sorry.
Yeah, it's pretty boring.
Wow.
Sorry. Just give him.
Sorry, not
Yeah.
sorry.
Follow them
Full
on
disclosure.
Instagram too.
We
TikTok,
are
Instagram,
candid.
all of it.
We are
Candid.
very, people are like,
They are
allegedly.
Oh, I thought that was an app. Never mind. It's like you're on Candid.
We have
Candid,
Canva
Jessica?
that we use sometimes.
Canva.
Yeah.
We use Canva.
Give us a listen.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank
We
y'all
love
so much.
you.
This was
Thanks,
so
y'all.
fun. This was
was
such a
so
good
fun.
idea.
Yeah, we're gonna do more because
Yeah.
I mean, I
know,
feel
I'm not
I have
done.
like things that I'm thinking of, but they're more like obviously mainstream ones because I don't know any of them.
I know. I want to, next episode when we're on, we should talk about the serial killers of America because the stats are like, I think South Africa is behind America and it has had 10 active serial killers last year, and America has 200,000. It's like
It's not that.
no, it's
But-
not that. But
And
it's
we,
like,
I
have
think
a
our
lot of
listeners
thousands
would like
of
this
them.
too. I want
Yeah.
y'all to come on our show too.
Yeah.
Yeah, we would
please.
love
Yeah.
to. That'd be
Yeah.
great.
That'd be
So fun.
awesome.
Yeah. All right.
All right. Thanks, y'all.
Thank y'all.
Thanks.
XOXO. Talk soon. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for hanging out with us today. Hopefully, you know you're not alone and we're all in the trenches together.
We're always here, so reach out and let us know what's driving you nuts. We got you. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review the Little Brain Campaign on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts.
Questions or topics you want us to tackle? Hit us up on all of our socials at the Little Brain Campaign. Keep trucking. You got this. We'll see you next week.
This podcast is for informational purposes only. Remember, no one size fits all. Always consult a professional for personalized advice.